Good morning. This is the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Monday, January 4th. Looking at precipitation over the past 2 weeks, you can see some moderate amounts here across the mountains of central Idaho and western Wyoming, but much lighter amounts as you head further south. Percent of normal precipitation on the right-hand side, and you can see that overall all areas had varying degrees of below normal precipitation, about 50 to 75% up here in the north, and closer to 0 to 25% in the south, where it continues to be unseasonably dry. Snowfall on the left the past 72 hours, most significant amounts of 6 to 12 inches, locally 18 inches across the higher terrain of Idaho, and lesser amounts further south and east. On the right-hand side, snow cover, and the only significant depth of several feet that we have here, 30 to 40 inches, is in the mountains of central Idaho and western Wyoming, generally about 6 to 16 inches across the Uintas and northern Wasatch, and just a few trace inches further south. And that leads us to the snow pack water equivalent map. All areas across the Great Basin, either below normal or just barely normal here in western Wyoming, but overall and across most of the west, other than some parts of far northern Washington state, most areas in the west experiencing a below normal snowpack. We'll have to monitor this over the next couple of weeks and months as it pertains to our upcoming fire season. Satellite imagery shows a fast-moving deep low-pressure trough pushing moisture into the Pacific Northwest into parts of western Idaho and northwest Nevada at the present time. This will be our weather maker for later this afternoon. Clouds and moisture increases across the northern Great Basin. Dispersion, ventilation goes down just because of the cloud cover, but there will be some decent mixing heights and transport winds, as we can see here. Some decent winds coming out of the southwest and west across Nevada and Idaho, and mixing heights several thousand feet above ground level across the western Great Basin, but still some longer lasting inversions and shallower mixing heights across the eastern Great Basin, especially Utah. Tomorrow that weather system moves out. High pressure briefly builds in. Another front approaches the Pacific Northwest. Dispersion on the right-hand side, best in eastern areas. You can see light winds across Nevada tomorrow. The gustiest winds will be across the parts of Utah and western Wyoming. Mixing heights best in the east, starting to decrease under that high pressure across Nevada. And on Wednesday, that high pressure breaks down. Another front starts approaching across northern California, the Pacific Northwest into Idaho. You can see our mixing heights or ventilation on the right-hand side. Winds start picking up again, especially across Snake River Plain, but across Nevada, Utah, fairly light winds, longer-lasting inversions. Nighttime inversions continuing well through the morning. We see the areas in the blue and purple, better ventilation, mountains of Idaho and the Snake River Plain. The Utah Clearing Index, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The best day will be Tuesday, quite poor both today and Wednesday. Expected precipitation, moderate to locally heavy amounts of probably more snow across the higher terrain of Idaho and parts of western Wyoming. Peters out quite a bit as you head into northern Utah and northern Nevada. On Thursday, high pressure builds in, splits the fronts pretty good. Ventilation on the right-hand side. On Friday, a fast-moving front starts approaching from the west, could bring some light precipitation again to Idaho and far northern Nevada and Utah. And that system quickly pushes into Colorado. We have high pressure building in once again for Saturday and Sunday, although we'll call this a dirty high pressure ridge because lots of Pacific moisture is moving up and over it as another trough of low pressure gathers strength in the Gulf of Alaska. The precipitation expected days 4 and 5. This will be a Thursday evening through Saturday evening, fairly light across the Great Basin. We'll see what happens with this next storm, and models have been very uncertain beyond just a few days out. The longer range models, 8 to 14 day, taking us from January 11 to the 17th, shows above normal temperatures and a drier than normal signal, which has been this winter and fall so far, especially across the southern portion of the Great Basin, but extending all the way up to Idaho as well. So again, no significant precipitation in sight. The La Nina pattern been very dry for much of the United States. Pattern continues. Our next briefing will be this coming Wednesday. Have a great day.